Wreck-It Ralph was directed by Rich Moore, and it stars John C. Reilly as Wreck-It Ralph. And this movie came out November 2012, 10 years ago. I was in 8th grade when I went to go see this movie, and I'm not kidding, I was in 8th grade when I went to go see this movie, and I liked it. But I still like it on this day. So in this movie we have a character named Wreck-It Ralph who lives in this video game called Fix-It Felix Jr. And he's the main villain of that game. So whenever he pounds the building, we have this main character in that game named Fix-It Felix Jr. who fixes the building with his little hammer and everything. And Ralph found out that he doesn't want to be the bad guy anymore. He wants to be a hero for once. He wants to get all the attention. He wants to get the reward. He wants to get a medal and everything. But then he sets off on his journey to reach his goal. But then he goes into this video game called Sugar Rush to meet up, and he meets up with this little girl named Vanellope von Schweetz, and Vanellope von Schweetz, who wants to become a racer, and she wants to win the race, but instead it couldn't happen because she's a glitch in this Sugar Rush game. And now both Ralph and Vanellope both have to find a way to reach their goals. And now we got our movie. And then, like I said, this movie came out 10 years ago. I remember, this was back in 2012. I was 14 years old when I went to go see this movie, and I actually loved this movie as an adult, still. But rewatching this movie last night, I'm a video gamer myself, but this is different, because, I'm a video gamer myself, but that's a total different story. But with this movie in particular, this movie is one of the best Disney movies of all time. But there'll be some things I like and some things I don't know if I will like. But there's some things I really like about this movie is the arcade. This movie takes place entirely inside of an arcade. So basically, this movie's sort of like Toy Story, but instead it takes place inside of an arcade, but which I'll talk about a little bit later. So I remember walking out of this movie and thinking this movie was amazing. This movie probably showed some respect and some really interesting dialogue that the retro gamers will probably understand. And there's some retro gamers out there, and there's some retro gamers who've probably seen this movie and some who have not seen this movie. If you're a retro gamer, if you have not seen this movie, I'm sure you'll probably watch it and probably fall in love with this movie, because this movie is all about not just retro and nostalgic gaming. It's also about seeing these characters that came from those games and put into this movie in 3D CG animation inside this movie. So anyway, let's talk about the actors and the characters. Let's start off with John C. Reilly as Wreck-It Ralph. So Wreck-It Ralph, like I said, he wants to become the hero. He doesn't want to be the bad guy. He's the main villain of Fix-It Felix. Whenever he pounds the building, he wrecks things. He doesn't fix things. He breaks things. He wrecks things, and he just says, "I'm going to wreck it," and there we go. I mean, it's not like he's saying Hulk smash. He just says, "I'm going to wreck it," which means he's gonna break something. I mean, can you imagine if he says Ralph smash, which kind of like copies off of the Incredible Hulk when the Incredible Hulk says Hulk smash, boom, there we go. I mean, with Ralph, I can imagine if he actually said Ralph smash, but I mean, he didn't really say that in the movie. But like I said, Ralph, he wants to become the hero for once. I mean, he probably has a bonding relationship with Vanellope von Schweetz, and there we go. There's Wreck-It Ralph. And John C. Reilly is really good as this character. In fact, John C. Reilly did an excellent job voicing Wreck-It Ralph. I thought he was really good in this movie, though. And next up is Jack McBrazer as Fix-It Felix Jr. And he says, "I can fix it," with his little golden hammer and everything. Because he's the main character of his own game, of the title of the game itself, Fix-It Felix, or Fix-It Felix Jr., I shall say. Whenever he says, "I can fix it," he just fixes the building. He gets to eat some pie, and then he gets his reward. He gets a medal. He gets all the love and the attention that he mostly gets. And then when he found out that Ralph left his game, when Ralph left the game, he went to go find Ralph in Sugar Rush. And there we go. And Fix It Felix, to me, was mostly funny, but there are a couple of scenes where I'm just like, okay, he's really getting on my nerves. But he doesn't really get on my nerves this much. There were a couple of things I'm just like, I'm trying to get used to him being the laughable character, which I'm fine with. But Fix It Felix Jr., voiced by none other than Jack McBrayer. Jack McBrayer was really good as Fix It Felix Jr., and that's it for him. And next up is Sarah Silverman as Vanellope Von Sweets, who lives in this video game called Sugar Rush. She wants to become a racer and a winner, but instead she can't because she's a glitch. See, there we go. She's a glitch, and then you found out about her backstory that I won't tell you about if you have not seen this movie. And then there we go. She wants to become a racer, and she wants to try to reach her goals. She wants to get all the love and the attention for one, but instead, these other people inside the Sugar Rush game just treat her like crap throughout the movie, or at least probably a couple of scenes in the movie, I guess. But then she has a really good bonding relationship with Wreck-It Ralph, though. I mean, she feels like a daughter figure to Wreck-It Ralph, and Wreck-It Ralph felt like a father figure, though, and a best friend all at once. So Sarah Silverman as the voice of Vanellope Von Sweets. I heard a lot of people say that Vanellope Von Sweets is really cute. She's adorable. She's not like Boo, who says Mike Wazowski or calls Sully Kitty throughout the movie, which is sort of like in Monsters Inc. That's Boo from Monsters Inc. But with this character right here, I really like this character. There are a couple of moments where I'm just like, just give Ralph his medal, just so he can just go back to his own game. And with Vanellope Von Sweets, I mean, with Sarah Silverman as the voice of this character, I thought she was really good here. And next up is Sergeant Calhoun. So Sergeant Calhoun, who's voiced by none other than Jane Lynch. And now I gotta tell y'all, I've seen Jane Lynch in a couple of movies or shows over the years, and Jane Lynch as the voice of this Sergeant Calhoun. Sergeant Calhoun is excuse me, it's mostly like the main character of this game called Hero's Duty. It's sort of like Halo, but different. I think it's a little bit like Halo or Battlefield all at once, but different. It's sort of like those games. I'm gonna say it's a little bit like Halo. Let's say it's a little bit like Halo and Star Wars, and different from. Let's say it's a little bit like Star Wars, Halo, and Battlefield all at once, but different. Inside of her game, she plays inside his game that she's in. There's these robotic killer bugs. These robotic killer bugs are like the main baddies of that game, of the Hero's Duties game. And there we go. And Jane Lynch as the voice of this character, I thought she was really good, and really good casting though, really good voice acting, like everyone else in this movie. And Sergeant Calhoun, I wouldn't say she's my favorite character. She was so close to being my favorite character, although she's kind of more serious throughout the movie. She's not. Yeah, there are a couple of like jokes that she probably plagues out sometimes, but I think that's it for Jane Lynch as Sergeant Calhoun. And last but not least is Alan Tudyk as King Candy, and I think this is his first time being in a Walt Disney Animation Studios movie, which is Wreck-It Ralph, which he voices King Candy, who takes over Sugar Rush. He's the king of who takes over Sugar Rush. Yeah, he's the king. Yeah, he's the king of taking over Sugar Rush, and that's all I know for this character. But then when he found out that, he was like, "Oh no, Vanellope can't be a glitch. Everything's gonna be fine." And then he said he's trying to protect her, and I'm like, dude, that's not true. You're not trying to protect her. You're just doing this to just treat her like crap and just like push her away and everything. Which King Candy is like Alan Tudyk is really good as the voice of this character. Like King Candy. There's a couple of scenes where I'm just like, okay. There are a couple of scenes where I'm just like, you know what? All right, but what is happening here? But no, there are a couple of moments where I really liked him in. There are a couple of scenes I liked him in. There are a couple of scenes I'm just like, okay, I think he can be funny, but he doesn't really make me laugh. In fact, none of the characters didn't make me laugh, including this character. And Alan Tudyk is kind of like, I'm gonna say with Alan Tudyk is sort of like the king of voice acting. Whenever, like, let's say Walt Disney Studios put him inside one of these, like, in a movie, like say Moana and Wreck-It Ralph, for example, he's really good with voice acting. Alan Tudyk is really good as King Candy, and that's it for him. And that's it for the actors and the characters themselves. And this movie this movie brings back nostalgia. In fact, one of the things I really enjoy about this movie that really gives retro gamers something, like, I wouldn't say what they want, something like that, is there are a couple of Easter eggs that caught my eye, so I paused the movie or rewind and pause and say, wait, oh, I did not see that character there. I didn't know he was in that spot or she's in that spot. I won't tell you who it is. You gotta watch the movie for yourself. But there are a couple of Easter egg characters, like some in the background. Some I'm just like, oh, I know this character. I know that character. That character does look familiar to me. There are a couple of arcade stuff in this movie. They're like this movie does take place inside of an arcade. So what I really like about this movie is it really gives you these arcade retro gaming fans that retro feel. Like, not just that, but also just telling you and also just showing you some of these characters this movie is a little bit like Ready Player One, but different. But this movie takes place inside of an arcade. But also, what I really enjoy about this movie a little bit though, it kind of reminds me of Toy Story, but in different ways. Like for example, in Toy Story, whenever the kids are not around, the toys come to life. And then in Wreck-It Ralph, whenever there's no one inside the arcade, these arcade characters inside their games just come to life and be like, oh, it's been a long day. Hey, let's just go travel around go travel around our other games or something like that. And what else is really interesting about this movie as well is this movie also takes place this movie not just also takes place inside these other games, but also takes place also in it takes place inside this some kind of charging station, which is this charging station. Inside this charging station, we have here is Game Central Station, where you see all these retro game characters coming out of their games and they're just hanging out and everything. But I thought that game looks pretty cool. What really does not interest me is some of the humor in this movie does not just sometimes gets thrown on me, and then I'm just like, okay, this is not what I didn't expect or something like that. But there are a couple of scenes where there are a couple of moments where this is a Disney movie about not just retro games, but also about nostalgia. It's also about nostalgia that, I'm a big nostalgia fan, myself included. I used to play old games back in the day, like Spider-Man. I used to play old Spider-Man video games, some of the Incredible Hulk video games. But those games are from systems. Those video games are from game systems, like say Xbox, PlayStation, or the Wii, whatever, doesn't matter. But this takes place inside of this movie. But with this movie, these games that you see, there are a couple of games. Let's say there are a couple of Easter eggs. Gamings, let's say Street Fighter, for example. Like, wait a minute, oh, Street Fighter, I love that game. That's for Street Fighter fans out there. But I guess that's for the movie. And some of the stuff, like the final battle is really good. Some of the adventure stuff, the action is amazing, and the animation is really good. You can pretty much tell exactly what's going on. You know how Disney does really good with animation stuff. The CG animation stuff is really enjoyable. But I guess that's mostly it for this movie review for Wreck-It Ralph. I'm gonna wreck it! And I guess that's it for this upcoming movie, and that's it. So be sure to like, subscribe, post notification button, follow me on Instagram, comment down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.